Hello, welcome to my channel. My name is Fran, and today I'd like to talk about undesirable circumstances. Why do we manifest unwanted circumstances? How to turn things around and what not to do when unwanted or undesirable events do manifest in our lives. First of all, our consciousness or imagination or observation, if you will, creates everything in our life, or better yet, highlights or brings to the forefront everything in a physical reality, the good, the bad, and the ugly. This is not to say that when something unpleasant or unwanted manifests in our reality, we should blame ourselves, feel guilty, or self deprecate. If we've created or brought forward something that we don't want, then it's obvious that we created it or manifested it unconsciously. We didn't know that we were doing it at the time, or else we wouldn't have done it in the first place. The thing is, some emotions are powerful creators: fear, anger, sadness, shame, guilt. On the other hand, love, passion, joy, excitement, positive expectancy also create or shift our reality. So, our aim is not to produce more guilt, shame, and anger when things don't go our way, but to adjust our emotional thermostat, so to speak. And even if we don't know exactly how we have manifested something undesirable in our life, we know that in order to make the shift, we need to focus on the opposite emotion of that which comes up when confronted with the event or circumstance. Now, the challenge is we are programmed to automatically react in certain ways when triggered by specific circumstances. Therefore, our emotions feel almost inescapable. Furthermore, you cannot shift an emotion by forcing a shift. You can only change the state of your emotions by first becoming aware of them, then by observing them without judgment, and then perhaps by shifting your attention to a different thought or emotion. Maybe you can ask yourself questions such as: how can I shift to my desired emotion or outcome? Which is the path of least resistance? What feels good right now? And you don't have to know the answer to any of these questions. You don't have to come up with anything at all. Your subconscious mind will give you hints as you go along. Suddenly, you will find yourself taking action without even knowing why. You just feel inspired to do certain things. The actions will feel effortless and even pleasant. Simply follow your gut instinct. It's that simple. If your emotions are hard to shift, then ask yourself, how would I like to feel? What would make me feel that way? Or what would make me feel better in the moment? How would I like to feel about myself? The most important thing to shift the most important thing is to shift your attention from the undesired emotion and circumstance to the desired emotion or outcome. The goal is to train your attention to go where we want it to go, rather than wander aimlessly at the slightest trigger or challenge. Remember this: every challenge in your life is an opportunity for you to train your focus and your attention. Every single unwanted event in your 3D is a chance to adjust your aim, an opportunity to have your manifestation skills perfected, to hone your manifestation skills. Sometimes, when you get more and more experience at molding your physical reality, you'll face challenge after challenge after challenge, and every challenge will feel slightly tougher than the previous one. Now, let me be clear: you don't have to go through these unless you have a belief that says that you have to earn the good things in life by suffering and struggling first, or unless your ego is self sabotaging as it perceives change as potentially dangerous. Manifestation doesn't have to be this hard, but if this scenario does come up, then you can use every unwanted circumstance as your training ground. So notice when something unpleasant comes up and simply shift your attention to the desired outcome or solution instead, over and over and over again, until eventually not reacting to triggers in your reality becomes your automatic response. It's a bit like going to school. Your exams get harder and harder as your ability to pass them grows, as your skills develop. Every new test is simply an opportunity for you to test your skills and to learn how to unmanifest the unwanted and how to manifest the desired outcome instead. So instead of going into victim mode and feeling persecuted by fate, misfortune, or whatever else you might believe in, simply shift your attention to the desired result. The most efficient way to starve your current 3D of any oxygen is to remove attention from it. Simply focus on what you do want instead. And if that feels too difficult to obtain or too far away from your current reality, then simply shift your attention to anything else. Interrupt your thought pattern. Focus on practical chores if you must. Exercise, learn a new skill, do anything to distract your mind from your present reality. Know that these challenges are coming up because you need to practice your manifesting skills. But this does not need to go on forever. Eventually, you will learn to focus only on the wanted and the desired, and fear, worry, anger, pride will just, every time they rear the ugly heads, you will be able to quickly refocus on that which feels good instead. If you remind yourself each time that you are manifesting everything in your life, that you are almighty, that your subconscious is in charge, that you have the power to manifest anything you desire, then fear, uncertainty, anger, worry, etc. have no reason to exist anymore. You are the operant power in your reality, but the power needs to be trained. So don't be hard on yourself or judge yourself if something unwanted shows up. It's part of the learning process. Keep shifting the focus of your attention to the end result that you desire. When toddlers are learning to walk, they don't bash themselves every time they're falling down, every time they fall down, time they don't manage to walk or stand up. They don't think that it's impossible or too difficult or that they might never be able to walk. They don't cry or hate those who can walk. They don't give up or just sit there hopeless and helpless. They don't think that there must be something wrong with them or that the odds are stacked up against them or that the universe or God or luck is not on their side, do they? Toddlers fall down, get up, and try again, over and over and over again, until eventually they manage to walk. The only reason that growing up we lose this ability to overcome challenges is learned helplessness. Now, if I don't remember wrongly, Martin Seligman did an experiment with dogs. Every time a dog went over a certain invisible threshold, the animal would be given an electric shock. Eventually, the animals learned not to even try to go over the invisible threshold. They just sat there as if imprisoned by an invisible cage. They simply stopped trying. This is what happens to many of us as we grow up. We witness our parents, guardians, or teachers giving up on their dreams or settling for less that they would have wanted. We are told that we need to keep our feet on the ground, that to dream is foolish or childish or just downright stupid. Maybe we fail a couple of times or something. Maybe our teachers tell us that we're not bright enough or that we're not good enough. And so we learn to give up, to settle, to not try, to not persevere, to accept less than. We become hopeless. We stop trying, we stop believing, and we start surviving. Then we become superstitious or religious or simply cynical, and we forget that we are in charge of our own reality. Challenges can be our best friend or our biggest enemy. It all depends on how you interpret them. We can either become like Seligman's dogs or even like Pavlov dogs, trained to salivate when they hear a bell, which reminds them of food. Or we can be like that stubborn toddler who will eventually learn to stand up and walk or run and jump even. In the end, this is your reality. You decide what anything means within it. Challenges and undesired circumstances can be the best manifestation tools at your disposal. Initially, you will know what you want by knowing what you don't want. But as you grow in your ability to manifest, you will eventually learn what you want, even before the unwanted manifests or shows up in your reality, and then you will experience less contrast and more bliss. Remember, your assumptions create. So assume that you only experience desired outcome. Assume the state of the wish fulfilled, to quote Neville Goddard. Know that these challenges are transitory and ephemeral, and your desired outcome is inevitable. Learn to train your attention away from doubts, pessimism, catastrophic scenarios, and towards positive expectations. Remind yourself that whatever challenge you are facing right now, however real it might feel, is just an illusion, a stubborn illusion, I'll admit. But remain faithful to your vision until you know with every fiber of your being that your desired end is inevitable. As the process of manifesting becomes more familiar, you will need fewer and fewer challenges to show up in your life, so keep at it. As your mind keeps wandering back to problems, difficulties, failures, and challenges, simply shift your attention towards solutions, desired outcomes. Know that what you want and desired is already yours. You too will learn to walk and even run, but like a toddler, you need to have a playful attitude, a curious attitude. As you keep trying to achieve your goal, stay lighthearted, have fun with it, and mostly have faith in your ability to achieve whatever it is that you desire. Like a toddler, you must remind yourself that if others have achieved it, if others have made it, then you too can make it. And just like learning to walk, a big part of it is the belief that it's possible for you to do so. A big part of it rests in surrender and allowing. Another example is learning to ride a bike or to swim. As soon as you shift your attention from the fear of falling or drowning and towards the fun of riding and floating, it becomes virtually impossible to drown or fall. The automatic thing is to float and to move forward. It's just the easiest thing to do. Now, I don't need to be morbid here, but dead bodies naturally float, which means that unless you actively do something to sink, your body will automatically stay afloat. A similar thing happens as you learn to ride a bike. Once you know how to ride it, it will take quite a bit of effort to fall down, as your natural or automatic response or attitude will be to stay up and ride effortlessly. This is because our subconscious mind is our autopilot. Once you have programmed it to do something, it will do it in automatic. Complex skills such as balancing, walking, swimming, etc., cannot be achieved by our conscious mind alone, controlling every single action required. Or if they can, they are not smooth or easy, but they absorb all of our attention and effort. And even then, we are prone to make mistakes. The same happens with manifesting. You cannot do it using your rational mind. Your rational mind is used to program your subconscious mind, not to achieve every single goal. Once we have programmed our subconscious mind in the desired way, we can relax and delegate. But we do require a degree of faith or surrender in the ability of the subconscious to do its job properly. It's like the difference between an efficient and successful manager and an ineffective manager. The good manager's job is to first hire the right people for the job, to hire people who are dedicated and trustworthy and who have the necessary skills to do the required job. Then you delegate and let them do their job. The only way you can fail as a manager is if you've hired the wrong people, for instance, programmed your subconscious mind with unwanted staff, or if you have not directly hired your staff. For instance, if your subconscious mind was programmed in childhood by your parents or guardians and you have just accepted the inherited program without question. Or if you haven't been clear about your aims and goals and expectations. You see, if you've hired the right people, then there is no further need to control, to micromanage, to monitor. You simply trust them to do the job they were hired for. The ineffective manager or ineffective managers in general are unable to trust and delegate. They like to do everything themselves. And this may take double the time, and they may achieve mediocre results. But it feels as if they are working twice as hard, because they are. When you work with an effective or good manager, you barely notice their presence. They just allow you to make the right decisions. They trust that you can do your job. Manifesting is similar to managing a team of people. You reprogram your subconscious mind in line with the desired outcome. You simply trust that the subconscious mind can do its job properly. You let go of micromanaging your life, and you ignore little bumps in the road or little mistakes, while always steering your team towards solutions and desired targets. There are no failures, only learning opportunities. So stay focused on your desired outcome. Use the 3D as an indication of where you might need to steer your mind or reprogram your subconscious. And use every challenge that arises as an opportunity to grow, to learn, to strengthen your team. So this is it for today. If you've come this far and found this content helpful, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. I intend that this content helps you focus on solutions rather than problems, on the fun of learning and growing rather than the frustration of failing. In other words, I intend that this podcast helps you reawaken your inner child. In any case, thank you for listening. Have a wonderful awakened life.